How to set lock miter joints. You can get lock miter cutters for your shaper and for your router table. And there's 4 things you need to know. The thickness of your wood, half the thickness of your wood, the height of the blade off the table, and the position of your fence. First thing you want to do is measure the thickness of your wood. And if you don't want to fire truck around dividing numerators and denominators in half, just switch it over to millimeters. Now on these lock miter bits, this little point right here is halfway between high tide and low tide, and that's what you're going to use as your reference point. Now using some kind of depth gauge and half the thickness of your wood, you're going to raise that bit up until the reference point. And lastly, you're going to want to set your fence over so that as you move your board across, the top of the cutter at that height just barely hits the top of your board, which is also the same distance as the thickness of the board from the edge of your table to the bottom part of the cutter, which is just above the tabletop. And then you're going to make test cuts and more test cuts and more test cuts until it's nice and tight, like the prom dress you can't fit into anymore.